So I want to start this video right away by saying, keep in mind, just because we meet with prospects, talk to prospects, doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the Bengals or any team is going to try to meet with as many prospects as possible to try to kind of see, if they're on the board at the time that they're picking, if they are good prospects for them. So just keep that in mind. Now, all the players I'm going to talk about today, these are all players that have met with the Bengals in two different types of locations. So first off is the combine visits. So there were a lot of meetings with the Bengals when it comes to the combine. Obviously, that's the first time that a lot of these teams get to sit down, talk to, and kind of get a lay of land for some of these prospects. And then the second time is going to be, of course, the 30-day visit, or the top 30 visit, which is going on right now before the NFL draft. Now, there is also a list of players that the Bengals have sent different scouts to, different coaches to, Zach Taylor, Duke Tobin, etc., to kind of see different pro days. But, for example, when it comes to pro days, it's kind of hard to really dictate who they are watching. Because, for example, Georgia's pro day, Brock Bowers did not participate. And I think Amarius Mims did not participate. But then a bunch of other guys did, right? A bunch of other players did. And if you kind of count that list, okay, well, they were there. They also saw like 10 or 11 players at that pro day. So technically, you could put the list down as like, well, that's 11 players right there. And then they went to this pro day and that's another 10 players. And, at the end of the day, again, you try to get the best lay of the land. You try to get the best, intel on how good these players might be and how much they will translate to the NFL in an effective way. So starting off right away, we've only met with two quarterbacks so far. Mike Hyers and Bo Nix. No other quarterbacks at this moment in time. I'm not expecting us to meet with many quarterbacks in this draft, especially because if we took a quarterback in this draft, I would be highly surprised. I think Jake Browning is a very capable backup, and even if you want to say, well, I don't know if Jake Browning's the guy, blah, 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 it's always possible and probably almost probable they're going to bring somebody else in during training camp, OTAs, and preseason. So if he is not the guy, we're going to have someone in there who's going to help us out and figure it out, right? There will be a quarterback competition for the backup quarterback job. For running backs, we have met with a total of 4 running backs so far. Blake Corum, Will Shipley, Ray Davis, and George. Another position where I think we're going to meet with a lot more before the draft does go ahead and happen. It's 20 days away, about 3 weeks away now. So I'm expecting us to meet with a lot more prospects than just, the running backs we have met with so far. But it's very possible, again, like I said, that we kind of... how do I put this? They might use the pro day more to see these running backs than meeting with them in person. Right, because if we do take a running back, it's probably going to be a day 3 pick, and it's going to probably be 5th, 6th, or 7th round, right? So it's one of those situations where we're going to get a general gist of what they look like from the pro day, and then kind of get character based on how they look, how they present themselves, and stuff like that. For wide receivers, we have met with 3 wide receivers: Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas Jr., and Brendan Rice. For example, Xavier Worthy is the guy who broke the combine record, and we actually also sent scouts out to his pro day. I believe we sent a couple coaches out to his pro day just to take a look at him. He is right now a late 1st round, early 2nd round pick. The tight ends we have met with so far: Eric All, Brock Bowers, Trey Knox, Jatavian Sanders, Dallin Honker, and AJ Barner. So those are the guys we met with so far. Offensive tackles, we have met with Amarius Mims, Troy, Brandon Coleman, Fuaga, J.C. Latham, Patrick Paul, Roger, Kingsley, and Jalen Sudell. For centers/guards, we have met with so far. We have met with Jackson Powers Johnson, Zach Zinner, and Graham Botton. When it comes to defensive linemen, we have met with Justin Rogers, Mason Smith, McKinley Jackson, Tiandre Sweat, Xavier Thomas, Rook, Johnny Newton, Brian Murphy II, Nelson Caesar, Muhammad Kamara, Jalen Harrell, Jared Verse, and Gabriel Murphy. And as you can see from this list, there are players we meet with that are going to be top 5 picks, top 10 picks, right? But at the same time, there are a lot of these players we're listing here aren't going to be till 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. And the reason why you meet with these guys, again, is because these guys are going to be your day 2, day 3 picks that could, if they hit, be very successful for your team. You know, at the end of the day, I think there was, I forget which coach said it, but there was a coach one time, I remember, who said something about your day 1 picks, right? Your first round picks are your difference makers on your team, right? Those are your just grand slams. They make your team better or special versus other teams. Your day 2 and your day 3 picks, those are your team, right? So at the end of the day, your day 1 pick, your first round pick, that's what makes you special. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you do A, B, C, and D. But your day 2 and day 3 picks, those are the picks that are actually the most important picks. They are your team. Next thing I want to talk about is edge rushers. We met with Chop Robinson and Brian Abraham. I also realized that some of these guys right down here are also edge rushers, so they list them as defensive linemen, but they're also edge rushers to some degree. We have not met with any linebackers or cornerbacks at this moment in time, but we have met with 3 safeties and 0 kickers and punters. Will we meet with a kicker? No. Will we meet with a punter? Potentially. I think that we will probably maybe not meet with a punter or do any kind of informal interview, but I think to some degree we're probably going to take a look at the punters. Brad Robbins obviously is going to get some competition. They're going to bring somebody in to see how they can compete next to him. And, you know, you got to do that, right? You got to always make your team better at the end of the day. So that's pretty much where we're sitting right now, guys. Definitely tell me down below, though, you know, which of these prospects are you most excited about? You know, there again, at the end of the day, there's a lot of prospects in this upcoming draft. And I feel like last year, you know, going into the draft, we all wanted Michael Mayer. We didn't think he'd be available. He ends up being available. We don't take him. I think half of Houday Nation wanted him so badly. The other half was like, don't take him, take an offensive tackle. And instead, we take an edge rusher. This year, we're in the same exact spot as last year. Not pick-wise, but the same mentality. Last year, we wanted a tight end. Half of Houday Nation wanted a tight end. This year, half of Houday Nation wants Brock Bowers. The other half wants an offensive tackle. Obviously, then there are some who want defensive lineman, cornerback, whatever. But it's the same thing as last year. And it's like funny because this year, we might just take an edge rusher. It's same exact thing. I don't know. But keep in mind, there is a guy in the 6th round whose name's Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy. I don't know why I said that weird. Anyway, so we could literally take the same guy twice. So it's very possible. Tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one.